This is Matthew Reeves, and today I will be doing my video presentation on Chagas disease. So here's some background information about Chagas disease. It was first described by Carlos Chagas in 1909. Chagas disease is also known as American trypanosomiasis, and it can be found in Latin America, mostly in rural areas where poverty is widespread. So this map right here is showing where the disease where it occurs and it's transmitted. There have been cases, locally acquired cases in the United States, but they are exceedingly rare. Most recently, in 2017, a blood donation in Missouri screened positive for antibodies to Trypanosoma cruzi. So how is it transmitted? It is transmitted by a infected insect vector called a triotomine bug. These triotomine bugs are also known as kissing bugs. These kissing bugs are infected with a parasite known as Trypanosoma cruzi, and the Trypanosoma cruzi is what causes the disease. Right here is a picture showing the kissing bug. They are active at night, and what happens and how they transmit the disease to humans is that after they get their blood mail from you while you're sleeping, they defecate on you. And what happens is that bite is irritating, so you scratch it, and you scratch the feces. That's the feces into the wound, and the parasites are located in the feces. Right here is a picture showing the life cycle of the Trypanosoma cruzi. Trypanosoma cruzi are trematodes, and right here is showing their trypomastogote form. And what happens is that they swim inside a blood cell, and then they become mastogotes, and they start dividing by or multiplying by binary fission. And at some point, the blood cell busts, and they become like blood mastogotes. And then the cycle can continue as they swim in your bloodstream and search for other tissue to infect. And then you can infect the mosquitoes. The kissing bugs, after they get the blood meal from the infected host. And right here it's showing the epimastogotes in the midgut, and that's where they multiply in the midgut. Also, the epimastogotes are made to survive the harsh environments in the midgut of the kissing bug. And right here, this is a picture of the trypomastogote. Right here you can see the kinetoblast, which has a bunch of DNA in it. And right here's the nucleus. Oops. And right here is the a picture of the mastogote. So there are also other forms of transmission. Like say you're a woman and you're pregnant and you're infected, you can transmit that disease to your baby. Also, you can get disease by contaminated blood products such as blood transfusions, and also you can get an organ transplant from an infected donor. So there are some ways to diagnose these the disease in humans. For the acute phase, you get a blood smear, and what you do is You get a sample of the infected tissue and you smear it on a slide and then look at it under a microscope. And then you can also use PCR to look at the DNA of a trypanosoma cruzi to see if it's there. And for the chronic phase, this is like when you had the disease for a while and didn't get it treated for. You can diagnose this with serology, which identifies the antibodies, and you can use chest X-rays to see if the heart's enlarged, or use a barium swallow to see if the the swelling of the colon. So the symptoms for the acute phase may include a fever or swelling of the site of inoculation. And in the chronic phase, I forgot to clarify that after a while, the disease does go away, but 20 to 30% of people who are infected do show signs of the chronic phase. And what the symptoms are is like heart rhythm abnormalities, a dilated heart that doesn't pump blood well, and a dilated esophagus or colon. There are ways to prevent this disease, but there is no vaccine. So if you get it, you have to get it treated, which I will talk about in the next slide. What you do is, to prevent it, you use vector control, such as screening your house and using bug spray. So the treatment depends on the phase of the disease. During the acute phase, you take anti-parasitic medication, such as nifurtimox, and the effectiveness of this medication is time dependent. So the sooner you take it, the more effective it will be. And then after the infection, you'll be taking this for 2 to 4 months. And so for the chronic phase, managing the symptoms of cardiomyopathy include like a pacemaker. So, quick recap. Chagas disease is caused by trypanosoma cruzi. It is transmitted through the feces of the kissing bug. Symptoms of the acute phase include fever and inflammation, and symptoms of chronic phase include cardiomyopathy and a gastrointestinal disease. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and good night.